Big Pine in the lower Florida Keys. I'm here at the beginning of July, on the full moon, and for one thing, the heralded Florida Keys mangrove snapper spawn. Beau Woods and I are hoping to bend some rods and box some delicious dinners. Hop aboard the Mark 6 and join us on what I promise will be a challenging adventure.
George Poveromo's world of saltwater fishing. Big fish don't stand a chance.
Having the right bait is a major prerequisite for success on just about any fishing trip that you do. So once we came off the trailer, we set 3 pinfish traps on the hopes that we would have a lot of live pinfish to use the next day when we started to chase the mangrove snappers.
I specialize in whatever the hot fishery is at the moment, but it's really more based on what I'm doing in the last 2 weeks. What's the best? And I might have people that want to go, I might be sword fishing one day, and the next day I'm catching yellowtails in 12 feet of water. So it's really a myriad of different types of species I target.
And we were down here in July to fish the heralded lower Florida Keys mangrove snapper spawn. I had done this one time with Beau a number of years ago, and the mangrove spawn was going off like no other, and I still saved this image of my Simrad machine. There were so many mangroves under and around the boat that they actually gave a false bottom reading. So it was an amazing sight. So we were hoping to at least replicate that, but to where we could easily limit out and have fun. That was our goal in this particular trip. So we come to the traps. I ease Beau up into the shallow grasses. He pulls a trap, and sure enough, we had some pretty good scores. Hardly any chance of rain, very light winds, and it was off to our first spot to target the mangrove snapper. So we go to the one spot that's a very common area off of a Cudjoe in the lower Florida Keys where these mangroves gather to spawn. And this was the particular spot where Beau and I just nailed it that one time before.
The mangroves were collecting on these spots. We drove up on some of them. The marks we had were astronomical. It was just, you're like, there's no way you're not going to catch them.
But absolutely nothing. So Beau said, let's pull this anchor up. We have more spots out to the west. Let's make a little bit of a run and get on some more numbers and see what could happen.
When they show up to these rock piles to spawn, they'll be there sometimes for 2 days or up to a week that they don't feed much. Or if they do, it's only for little bitty spurts of when they'll bite.
So we come to spot number 2 that we wanted to try. And this was in around maybe 55, 60 feet of water. And the same thing there. You know, you're marking these fish, but they are just not feeding. So let's shift over to plan B. I don't even know if it was a mile away, but it was a yellowtail spot.
So we finally decided to shift gears, and we went to a spot where I've been doing really well on the better size yellowtails, not little juvenile stuff.
So ran to the yellowtail spot. All right, the yellowtails are here. So now plan B was really working out fine. In fact, that was plan A at that particular point.
Oh my God, I hooked a fish. He's not in the boat yet though.
Let's make it stick.
Doesn't feel like a monster, but a decent one.
Put some Elmer's glue on that hook, would you?
Okay.
Oh, you're looking
George.
good.
I don't have to measure that one.
But I can't let you have all the fun, Beau. Give me a little racing room, would you?
I got you. Nice.
Uh-oh. I think, oh.
You got some grass or you got
something's eating that thing? What, is that a shark or a
Probably
cobia?
a cuda. I have had a cuda here a couple
Look
times.
at it.
It's a race.
Let me stop by the boat, see what happens.
That
was a good-sized yellowtail. And had good-sized yellowtail, and all of a sudden, it's over there being preyed upon at the top. Incoming.
Good job. Shake it off.
And score. I've asked you several times, what size shoe do you wear?
Put it in this bucket, George. I'm gonna make one trip with my shoe.
That's the problem with these repeat guests. They know all those lines you've used for like 22 years.
George, Finally figured out my problem.
And what is
Those micro circles were not working for me. I jumped up to I think it's probably a 2-aught.
All right, a circle, right?
Yeah.
Yellowtailing is finesse fishing. That is, it's imperative to let a piece of bait of about the same size as the chum float back at the very same rate of the chum. We tied straight to 12-pound test Suffolk Superior monofilament lines. I used a #1 VMC tournament circle hook, model 7387, and baited with a tiny piece of bonita. 10 Class 3 4,000 reels were paired to 7-foot fast-action Penn Battalion rods, rated for 15 to 30-pound test lines.
We were catching yellowtails, so hey, let's go ahead and catch our limited yellowtails. Fantastic eating and just a blast.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Penn, let the battle begin. Mako, you'll find them where the fish are. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, your adventure starts here. Mercury Marine, go boldly. George, we'll be right back.
After enjoying a solid yellowtail bite off Cudjoe in the lower Florida Keys, it was time to regroup and prep for our next day of fishing. I took the brushes and Starbright to the Mark 6, while Beau Woods took the knife to our catches.
So day 2 comes around and we're back at it again. So Beau wanted to make one quick drift over this small little wreck that he had, that he said normally it holds some decent muttons. He said not that many people know about it. And as we had gotten over it and watching the Simrad machine, it was a very small boat that was on the bottom. Beau compensated for the current and he set out on a drift. I sent down a strip of bonita down near the bottom. The sinker hits. I'm holding the rod. Instantly, I'm hooked up.
Did we lose him? We pull him? We pulled him.
Pull off. That was a nice fish. We came way off of the structure.
No, I got him.
Came up on you. That's awesome. What in the world have you got to eat that thing?
I don't know. I may be down on that bottom again.
George, I'm way off of where you were when you hooked up.
Hope it's not a ray.
He shot up there for a minute, didn't he?
He did. Either that or that sinker was wrapped around something and that came loose.
You don't think that something has possibly eat it, do you?
I hope not.
I don't either.
Because whatever hit was heavy up the top. Here we go. Something.
It's so dead looking.
Look at it. See that head shake? He's trying to move out. Here's a sinker. We got to look down there, boys. I'm starting to see some color. Careful with that. I don't know how well it's hooked, if that's a shark or...
I'm going to lose this for you real quick if I can. It's got to get
shark.
Is it a nurse?
That's what it's a shark.
That ain't what we wanted.
Not really. It's all you, Beau. Let's have a look at him. And
I don't think that's even a nurse.
It just sort of stayed down.
Yeah.
Like a nurse would be. Check that out.
Old round head bull.
So we bring this thing up and you know, what a depressing thing. First drop a shark, but then that shark takes you through about 20, 25 minutes of a real hard fight to get the fish alongside the boat. We let it go, get back up for another drift, drop down a live pinfish this time, and then bam, I'm on.
There we go. You almost look like you might have got your bait cut in half and something ate the piece that was left.
He's on here.
Come to me with your tip, George.
It's a yellowjack.
No, it's a yellowjack. I'll take it. Nice. All right, in the boat.
Yes, sir.
What do you say, buddy?
One of the best fish to eat sushi style is amazing. And for so many years, I just thought they're like a runner. They're not even good to eat till somebody had turned me on to them.
Super good to eat, George.
And it pulls a lot of people.
It does. Everybody thinks it's a blue runner or just a jack, and he is in the jack family, but he don't eat like most jacks. Very good to eat. I don't say I'd go as far as trading a mutton for him, but I'd be pretty close. They're very, very good to eat.
Let me tell you, I found a gem of a find in the way of a restaurant in the lower Florida Keys about 3 years ago. And when we come to Cudjoe, we make it a point to at least one evening, if not two, to go to South of the 7 restaurant, which is inside Sugarloaf Lodge. We stumbled upon this place 3 years ago, and it is totally sensational when it comes to all types of fresh seafood, incredible steaks, and the menus change, you know, pretty much, if not daily, weekly.
The menu changes with what they're catching in the boats. So, I mean, today the swordfish just got here when we opened. A lot of, like tomorrow night, the menu's gonna be totally different.
A phenomenal place. If you're down in this part, make it a point to go to the Sugarloaf Lodge and walk in to the South of the 7 restaurant and lounge. Totally fascinating. Chef Paul does a remarkable job.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Simrad, 75 years of innovation in marine electronics. Rapala holds the world record for world records. Suffolk's always use the best line. Starbright Boat Care Products, clean and protect. George, we'll be right back.
We're still early into our second day. Beau Woods and I are going to give his deep mutton snapper spot one last try, then we're going back on the mangrove snapper numbers. We're off Cudjoe in the lower Florida Keys.
So now, one shark, one yellowjack. The yellowjack kept us in the game. Let's go back for another drift. Unfortunately, as soon as we drop down again, we hook another shark. So we decided, let's move. Let's go ahead and try to get back on spot number one that we tried the day before for the mangroves. We get to the spot and we are marking a lot more fish than we had the prior day.
As soon as we marked them, looked great, and the first bait down was Katie bar the door after that. It was every drop. You were having a fish eat it.
So I let one fish pull that rod tip way down, I start whining, I connected to it. And we bring up a gorgeous mangrove snapper.
How you doing, George? You good?
Oh, I got a brute. You got the landing mitt?
I got it.
I got a brute here, buddy.
See if I can get in behind you.
Hang on, let me get a little more up to the sinker here, bud.
About all the line I got. There you go, buddy. That's the one we've been looking for.
Beau. All right, check.
Good job, man. That's what we've been looking for. I like it.
Beau and I are thrilled. Hey, these fish are starting to chew now.
We got the bite going so good. They actually were biting so good that every time we both dropped down and I'm like, oh, I'll beat you to it, and I hook one, I haven't hardly said anything and he's doubled up. It's like the right color, George.
It is, you got him. Is that, you gotta flip him or you need
I'll
to...
let you lift him. You can grab a hold of it. Come on in here with it.
Incoming.
Circle jig. Thank you, George.
All right, so you're going down with the jig tip with a pinfish,
I just tried a jig. I kept getting hung on the bottom rig, so I went to a light jig and it worked. Good one, George?
Yeah, very good.
Need the net?
I'm gonna fly flipping it.
Okay.
As soon as it hit that rock, Beau.
Yep. I got cut off. Something bit me. Oh, good Lord.
Come on, turn him, Beau. Counting on you.
Man, he wanted to get back in there again.
Well, I got to change my leader. He frayed the heck out of this already, playing down in there.
I got some color. Ah! Cuda's trying to get him.
I know, he's behind me too. Get that fish in. You and the barracuda.
That Cuda was trying to get him hard right there, George.
Even he moved on your side, which is a good thing.
Dropping for mangrove snapper is a stop or be stopped style of fishing. Hesitate on the hook set and the fish can hole up in the reef. We use 20-pound test Suffolk's 832 braid for its abrasion resistant and no stretch properties. 3-foot long, 30-pound test Suffolk's advanced fluorocarbon leaders were paired with 4/0 VNC tournament circle hooks, model 7387. Baits were live pinfish.
Nicely done, sir.
Incoming.
Nice fish. It was worth the effort, wasn't it?
All smiles, Beau. Got a good one coming in, Beau.
You gonna need a dipper?
I don't know. Let me take a look first. We got a big one here.
Awesome. If you'll take a couple steps forward, I'll slide. You got it?
I'm gonna gamble,
Nah, he's good.
and we won this one.
Awesome. Sizes are improving by a lot.
Oh yeah, that's why I call him a snapper. You see him take a snap?
Today, on this particular day, the mangroves started to feed better. It got better and better and better to the point where we maxed out in pretty much no time and enjoyed an incredible bite. So that mangrove snapper spawn, which was the whole target of our trip, had come into play, and I think we hit it just right there at the end, and we made our trip. So again, the lower Florida Keys, the mangrove snapper spawn around that July period, if you've yet to experience it, you definitely need to. As far as accommodations in Cudjoe, if you're bringing down your own boat, there's Palmer's Resort. Palmer's Resort is actually on Little Torch Key, and it's a collection of cottages, suites. You have efficiency studios and rooms, and it's spread out over 5 acres. It's a nice, relaxing feel once you get here. If you're bringing your own boat, be it a flat skiff or even a mid-sized center console, they have a couple little lagoon-type docking areas that are right outside of your cottages. There's a launch ramp not that far away, and you're situated on Pine Channel. Freshwater pool to cool down after a hot day of fishing. As far as the people that want to lay on shore, where you take your boat out and fish, you have kayak rentals, there's paddle boat rentals, and they have a 90-foot long beach if you just want to come and soak in the incredible Florida Sea sunshine. Palmer's Resort, check it out. It's a great place to stay.
George's Tackle Locker, brought to you by King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
I'm a big proponent of using ethanol-free recreational fuel in my boats. However, rec fuel is not available at many marinas outside my home waters of South Florida. When I must take on fuel containing ethanol or fuel from remote regions, like in the Bahamas, I rely on StarTron to compensate for any suspect gasoline. StarTron is an enzyme-based fuel treatment which allows fuel to burn more completely, even ethanol blends. If your boat sits idle for months, which mine never does, StarTron enables engines to start right up and perform smoothly across their full RPM range, while simultaneously cleansing fuel systems. And you can't overdose its usage. When trailering the Mark VI, I'll even add a bottle of StarTron to my diesel truck prior to each trip. It gives me peace of mind on both the high seas and highways that'll make it to and from my destinations without any fuel-related issues.
Mercury Performance Stats, Lower Florida Keys, Mangrove Snapper. Seas, calm. Power, triple Mercury Verado 400 horsepower outboards. Props, Mercury Inertia Eco 21-inch pitches. Total miles traveled, 76. Consistent cruise, 4,800 RPMs. Speed, 48 miles per hour. Total fuel burned, 82 gallons. We'll be right back. George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. ACR, the leader in marine safety electronics. Papa's Pilar Artesian Crafted Rum. Never a Spectator. VMC, your expert in hooks. King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
Along with the Mangrove Snapper Spawn in July, the Lower Keys Underwater Music Festival simulates an underwater concert on Looe Key Reef. Music is piped in via a commercial-free 4-hour broadcast on WWUS-US1 radio. Their goal is to heighten awareness of our coral reefs. Here's Executive Director Steve Miller to tell you all about it.
We intersperse different messages throughout the festival, talking about the coral, its restoration, how to take care of it, how to not damage it. Also on boat etiquette, dive etiquette, what you should do in the water, how you should treat being in the water. This is one of the very few events in the Keys that is actually free. All you need to do is get on your boat and go out to the Looe Key National Marine Sanctuary. We recommend that you tie off to the other boats because no anchors or anything like that out there, and then simply dive in and enjoy.
So the mangrove snapper, hitting it just right to capitalize on these fish when they turned on during that July mangrove snapper spawn. That was the goal of our trip. It was hard to buy a bite from a mangrove snapper on our first day. I think we might have gotten one or two, but the yellowtail saved us. Day 2, the fish started to feed. And it got better and better and better to the point where Beau Woods and I just started cranking on them and limited out in fast order.
So bringing things to a close at the end of our day, we get back to the house. Again, George cleans the boat. I'm cleaning the fish. I knock them out. It's my impression that the production team's everybody's gonna get a bag full of fish. I had a great trip, and I hope we get to do it again in the next couple years.
And the Florida Keys in July, if you've yet to experience that mangrove snapper spawn, it's really something else. Just for the sheer point of seeing the masses of fish on your sonar, it's incredible. And then to catch it when they're feeding. It's an aggressive fish, it's a powerful fish, it's an incredibly great tasting fish. So as we're loading up the Mark VI, getting it back on its trailer over at Cudjoe Gardens Marina, I couldn't help to think back on what a great 2 days it was. The unfortunate part of it all was that when you get on such a good bite, and it did turn on for us, so that's victory at sea in our opinion, and you're out there and having a great time with a guy like Beau. I've known Beau for a number of years. He's a great guy, highly competitive, a fun guy to share the cockpit with. And you look at a place like Cudjoe in the lower Florida Keys, when you have all these great things that come together, it just speeds up the time, it seems. So the 2 days that we were here seemed like a blur. But that just goes to show you, when you have good friends, incredible fishing, in an incredible place like the lower Florida Keys, how could it get any better? If you want to keep track of our fishing adventures, we welcome you to follow us on our social media. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/George.Poveromo. I'm on Instagram at George Poveromo. And you can see our shows in 4K broadcast quality on YouTube at my YouTube channel, which is George Poveromo TV. Jump aboard and ride along with us.